Hi, my name's Joe, and I'm an addict, and a dad, and a bunch of other things. I'm also a musician. I play in a couple bands, but I'm not here to talk about any of that stuff today. I'm here to give my thoughts, my ideas on ethics. I know this is kind of a left field topic for me, but I want to talk about ethics and their relation to morals and how they are different. Um, in a nutshell, ethics is a set of, I wrote it down here, it's a set of moral principles that govern behavior or the conducting of an activity. And a moral has two definitions. It is a lesson concerning what is right or prudent derived by information, or a person's standard of behavior or beliefs concerning what is and is not acceptable for them to do. That's the definition I'm going to be focusing on today. Now, when I say ethics are a set of moral principles that govern the behavior of conducting of activities, well, not just activities, but in anything you do, what that means, moral principles. So they're saying principles that are based on a person's standards of belief or behavior concerning what is and isn't acceptable for them to do. These are different. Morals come from, they're usually internalize them yourself. Like, for instance, Steve goes into his house, touches the stove, he burns his hand, he can't use his hand for a week, it's bandaged, he has to go to the doctor to take antibiotics, blah blah blah. The takeaway from that story that they're kind of I'm obviously displaying there is that don't touch the stove, it's hot. Or you'll have to go to the doctor, you'll have to take antibiotics, you'll have to wear a bandage, etc., so on. And you derive that yourself. Or you have situations where, like, a priest, for example. A priest is generally there to comprehend the Bible and explain the morals to you. That is where it becomes a little, that's where it becomes a little gray and a little dangerous because someone else is making your morals for you. Someone else is taking the idea for you. They're doing the work for you. They're doing the thinking for you. And when someone else does your thinking, that's kind of a dangerous situation. Now, ethics on the other hand are usually a set of laid out standards for behavior. Now, the question then comes, are those rules hard set in stone rules, or are they elastic and bendable? I find that ethics are bendable in most situations. They're not as set as morals. Morals, when you do something that goes against your morals, you feel as though you're doing something wrong. But when you do something that is unethical, it tends to be a way, like, ethics are more like a rubber band where you can stretch it and deform it into different shapes. You know, you could stretch it into a circle, you could stretch it over a square, and have a square rubber band. But it's still going to be a rubber band. And the rubber band doesn't necessarily break. It can break, and then you break codes of ethics, and people tend to frown upon that. But the thing about ethics is they're generally situational as well. Like, you know, the ethical principles that, like, a bank follows to lend you money for a house don't apply when, you know, you're in cybersecurity, you know, if that makes any sense. Like, the sets of ethics tend to be more situational, and morals tend to be more broad. And morals tend to be a more hard rule, whereas ethics are kind of fast and loose. And that brings me around to what I'm really trying to say here is that, are ethics essential to life, or are they kind of more like saying please and thank you, a more manners-based thing. And I find that they're more of a manners-based thing when it comes down to it, because I just see time after time after time that, say, politicians are great examples of doing unethical things. Police are great examples of doing unethical things. I was watching a video earlier. I'm sure a lot of people have heard this story, but man was out knocking on. Two men knocked on a door at a townhouse. The police showed up, and when the police showed up, he showed up, told one of the guys to get on the ground, and stomped directly in the middle of his back as he was getting on the ground, smashed his head off the pavement. Now, I'm sure that officer did not feel like he was breaking any ethics. I mean, sure, he was bending the rules by being a little rough, but I'm sure in his mind had already justified this as an ethical act. So, that is my point, is that ethics are not, I don't believe that ethics are anything more than a common courtesy that you give to people. When someone shows you respect by saying please and thank you, you show respect by saying please and thank you as well. When someone treats you ethically, you treat them ethically as well. Therefore, if someone treats you rudely, generally people aren't treating that person with respect after that. They've lost their respect for them. And that kind of ties into how I feel about ethics, is that if you are demonstrating to me that you are behaving in an ethical manner, and I'm saying this purely on like a business, like professional, I know me talking about professionalism, yeah, right, on a professional level, but showing ethics to being ethical with someone means that you generally want them to reciprocate being ethical, or they've already displayed that they are ethical. And then when they throw ethics out the window, I believe that you should too. Now, that might be a little bit crazy sounding, hearing someone say, oh, just throw your ethics out the window. I'm not saying to throw all of your ethics out the window. I'm saying that if somebody tries to, someone writes a fraudulent check on you, you know who it is, you know they did it, you know how they did it and when they did it. Well, and they try to deposit that check. Now, the ethical thing to do would be to contact them and say, hey, cancel that check or I'm going to turn you in. The unethical thing to do would be to report it to the FBI and then get their account closed down. Where the unethical part comes in is that you should be able to take that money back plus some. Scam the scammer. And I see this all over the place on the internet, and it's like, well, you're talking about that is an ethical discussion, and I honestly believe that morals are important, ethics are important, but I feel like ethics are secondary. They're a secondary feeling. Now, I'm not saying that all ethical business practices and like general social ethics should be thrown out the window. I'm just saying that they should be discretionary. And I feel like as long as you have a moral to not be as long as your morals follow a non-exploitative pattern, then what do you need ethics for? If you understand what I'm saying, I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. But this is kind of a debate that I've been having with the wife and in my head a lot. I've just been kind of bouncing back and forth on it, and seeing that I tend to lean into nihilism a lot. Like, the life is pointless, everything's pointless. But it's only as pointless as you make it. So if you want to have like a fruitful life, you can. What I do say about it is you only get one shot, and you shouldn't fuck it up. That's like the gist of what I'm trying to get across, is that if society changes, so do ethics. Like, morals don't change. Morals are always usually set, and ethics tend to change and be elastic and fluid with society as it evolves. Because if you told somebody about, I don't know, the ethics behind the ethics involved in cybersecurity, like a white hat hacker, to somebody in, 50, 100 years ago, they would assume you were speaking gibberish or another language. Like, it means nothing. It changes as society changes. And I don't feel like they're hard and fast rules. They generally, I think, that as long as you have a good moral compass and a solid moral foundation, you don't need to have like ethics rules, as long as you give everyone that solid moral foundation. And I feel like we're not. I'm definitely not a traditionalist in any sense of the word, but I am traditional in the sense that I do believe that children need a certain level of discipline, and that discipline should be exerted, and that in extreme situations physical discipline can be effective after other avenues fail, after multiple other avenues fail. Like, I'm not a church going man, if that's what you need to hear. But it all comes back around to we need to like be there for our children and make sure that our children have solid moral foundations, is really the message I'm trying to get across. That's the end of the day message. So too long didn't read. We just need to make sure that we instill morals into our children so that we can have a well-functioning society without having to have another set of arbitrary, flexible rules that keep people from screwing each other over. Now, all that being said, you can't I'm not saying that you need to eliminate every single rule, every single ethical rule or ethics rule. Like, a lot of people do need to hear the common sense ones, because I find that people don't think past the task at hand. Like, they don't really think about the repercussions of the task or how it's going to react. They think about the task that they're getting done. And we do have to have redundant rules, like, don't, like, in a kitchen, like, don't stab yourself, don't stick your head in the deep fryer. Like, we do need to have rules like that. It's common sense, like common sense rules, but we don't necessarily have to have like ethical rules, if that makes sense. Like, those should be hardwired into our morals. And I feel like we're failing so badly at this. And when I say morals, I mean like good morals, like, respect human life, everyone deserves food, water, and shelter. Like, we should take care of each other. It shouldn't be all for one, it should be one for all. Like, there's more than enough resources to do that, especially with the amount of people we have and production we have. There's no excuse for us to have, a huge wealth disparity. And I really didn't mean for this video to get political, but these morals and ethics tend to be inherently political. So it's kind of like a 50-50 shot whether I'm going to talk about the politics of it. And, I did. And, I feel like more people need to hear it. Like, more people need to hear that, like, if we teach our children to do the right thing, just be respectful of others, then we won't have a need for ethics. People will just treat each other right. Now, I may be being too literal with the definition of ethics. I may be being too literal, but that just might be a little bit of the tism. I do tend to obsess on things like that. Why else would I be making a 15-minute video on ethics versus morals and, like, come on. Come on. You're here. We all got a little, like, it's a spectrum. We're all on it. It's just some of us are, like, everyone's got a little bit of the tism, and it's okay. It's okay. Like, that's what makes us unique. If we were all the same, then we'd be fucking boring. Like, that's why people are interested, or at least I'm interested in what other people have to say. I don't necessarily care what they think, because I really don't care what anyone thinks of me. Like, you hate me, cool. You hate me, hit the dislike button. Leave me a nasty comment. Like, come on, bring it on. Like, I want to hear it. I want to hear the negative too. It's how I improve myself. I don't get better if I don't hear the bad stuff. If you're just telling me, hey, good job, this is great, awesome. I love you, thank you so much, like, you're the best. But that's not necessarily yes, I enjoy it, it's great. Like, please do. Please tell me you like it. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. You can even hit that little bell thingy if you want. I'll try not to bombard you with posts, but it's, I don't know, it's just I never really cared what people thought. Well, I mean, I did care what people thought for a long time. But as an adult, I've never cared what people thought. Because why should I care what people think? If what they think is something constructive that can help me grow, absolutely I want to hear it. But saying, hey, you suck, go screw yourself, that's not really constructive, but it also shows me that I'm doing something that is disliked. So I can use my basic judgment to figure out that, hey, maybe it's this or this or this, because 5 other people said that your lighting sucks, or 5 other people said, your microphone was crooked in the shot. I know to fix that next time, and that's probably why they're telling me I suck. I mean, it's okay though. I love it. I don't care what you have to say. I mean, I care about you and what you have to say, but if you think something badly of me, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Haters are usually the biggest fans anyway. And I derived, and that's where I came to that conclusion, was through my morals, which influenced my politics, which in turn shaped me into who I am today. And without these thoughts, I feel like it'd be boring without life would be boring without arguments like this, like ethics versus politics, or ethics versus morals. Are ethics necessary? Are ethics inherently political? Are morals inherently political? Because I find that morals have become political. I mean, they always kind of were, but they've become more political in the last 10 years, and it's pretty interesting to see. I mean, some of the people out there, like the super fundamentalists and stuff, those people, some of their ideas are pretty scary, but a lot of their baseline morals fall into a similar vein as everyone else. But the differences make the difference between are people worth being alive or not. And it's that's a very big moral roadblock for me, I think, is because I feel that way about Mose, you know, Uncle Lester. So I feel like those people should be sentenced to death, and I know that's extreme, and I know that generally goes against what I say and everything else I preach and talk about or think about, you know, all that other fun stuff. And it goes against my morals. It goes against my normal morals that people deserve the right to live, the right to food, water, shelter, stay and do what they want. But not those people. So I guess we're not that much different. Like, I don't think fascism is right. And I don't think that those people should exist. But at the same time, who the fuck am I to say that? You know? I feel like I've gotten really off topic here. But that's okay, because there's a great question for you to discuss. Is it ethical to terminate PDF files? Is it ethical to delete PDF files? That's a great topic. I believe it is, because I believe those people have destroyed a life or multiple lives, therefore they don't deserve a life. Which is the same way people go with the death penalty for like murderers and stuff. And I'm not sure if I'm on board for that. The way that we treat prisoners is absolutely abhorrent, and I'm very, very anti-prison, anti-jail, anti-police, all that stuff. Because I believe it should be replaced with, you know, peace officers. Like peace officers, you're basically just social workers with a taser. And our jails and prisons should be rehabilitation centers and mental health, drug addiction, criminal behavior, even just criminality addiction. There's an addiction that comes with shoplifting for some people. And I feel like that stuff needs to be addressed, because just sending them back out into the wild has not been working. Recidivism rates are super duper high, especially among like drug addicts and like petty thieves and stuff. Like it's insanely high, and that's because we're not treating those people right. Like, if I come in to the hospital with a broken leg, you don't put a cast on my arm. You don't put me in a neck brace for a broken leg. And I feel like that's what they're doing with these criminals. And that's another ethical dilemma. Is it ethical to take to restrict someone's movement? And then at what point does it become ethical? Like, is it okay to jail a multiple murderer? I don't know. I don't really have a good answer. I mean, you only get one shot at life. And if you fuck it up that bad, do you deserve the rest of it? Not really. Not really. Should you be confined the rest of your life? Or, you know, put to sleep like a dog? I don't know. It's again an ethical dilemma, because I'm based on my morals. Now, just using my morals alone, it says no, they shouldn't be killed. Using ethics, it becomes elastic, and yes, they probably should be. It's a very slippery slope with ethics. I don't necessarily think that ethics are a good, hard and fast rule. They don't. I feel like a lot of stuff is based on that. Justice system is a great example of that. I feel like that's based on ethics, and the ethics are so elastic and pliable that we tend up doing lots of unethical things to people and treating people in very unethical ways just on the idea that we have this justice system and the rules are flexible and up to interpretation. That's bad. Very bad. Now, should there be a hard and fast rule that governs those situations? It's just a hard and fast rule? No. No, because everything's circumstantial. But I think that's about all I got today, honestly. Yeah, that's all I got, really. I will catch y'all next time. Check out some of my other videos if you want. I'll play you. I can play you a song. I'll play a song. I'll play another one soon. Yeah, check out my videos. Don't forget to subscribe, please. You won't see any of my other stuff if you don't subscribe because I'm not really good at this algorithm stuff. Please, please. But y'all have a great day. Life sucks.